Good morning. It's Dr. Rodney, and today is another segment on economics made simple. So, if you like our content, please like and subscribe. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers here. But what I wanted to talk about today is some of the things that have been in the news regarding the presidential election. A few weeks ago, I did a really brief review on Kamala Harris's tax plan and incentive plans, one of them being the homeowner deal. And so I want to talk about that. Plus, I want to talk about a few other things economically speaking. Number one, with Kamala Harris's $25,000 credit to homeowners, I think that is actually a fantastic idea. I just think the execution is poor. And here's why. So a few years ago, about probably 15 years ago, there was a program where you got a $25,000 deduction or incentive on your taxes if you were a first-time home buyer, basically a credit. But then what you had to do was the next 15 years, you had to put that in as income amortized out over the next 15 years. And so it really was a wash. It wasn't very well known, but it gave you a real good credit in that year. And so that helped you with all the expenses getting into a house. And I think that made a lot of sense, but then it kind of hits you each and every year over the next 15 years. This would be an all upfront $25,000, and think of it like a voucher system in a way, where basically the government will put $25,000 towards your home, towards your down payment. Well, what that will do is that will not lower home prices. That will actually increase home prices, because now what you're doing is, as a home seller, or especially a new home seller, you now can actually start your home prices $25,000 higher because you know you're going to get $25,000. So it really isn't changing anything. And then it's going to actually create more inflation. It's going to have different things. You're going to have bidding wars. And so all the people that you wanted to help to get in there, you're not going to get in there. Like I said, great idea. And in fact, I'm going to give credit to Governor Walz here, because Governor Walz has a great program in Minnesota, and it really started locally. It was done through community groups, and they have some funding, some backing through the government, and it's actually transformed a lot of Minneapolis and St. Paul and other urban areas because it's utilizing sweat equity. It's not giving actual cash, but what it's doing is it's helping get people in there. They're giving them some money to help renovate, and then what they're doing is renovating those homes, increasing the value, improving the neighborhoods, all those different. That is exactly what I think that program is designed to do. It's getting new homeowners into homes. It's revitalizing neighborhoods, but it's not a handout from the government. And I think that's where Kamala Harris lays a little flat. Now, J.D. Vance mentioned that we have a huge housing shortage, and Kamala Harris and Governor Walz agree we have a huge housing shortage. That's exactly why they want to have these programs. So we're in agreement there. J.D. Vance mentioned one of the reasons why we have a housing shortage is because of the migrants coming across the border. And he is right in a way. So when you have an influx of people that you cannot plan for, you cannot build, you cannot have schools, you cannot have medical systems, things like that. And we've had this problem for the last 30 or 40 years. That's where that controlled migration helps. However, I'm not making this about the border issue, although the border is a whole separate thing. But when you have people that may live 3, 4, 5, 6 people together, they can afford a little bit higher rent than just an individual coming out of college. So more than likely, they're going to take those units. Now you have people living at home. That's where that housing shortage comes in, because a landlord is going to take the rent that they can get. They want the highest possible rent. So if you can get 5, 6, 7 people, and you may think I'm being stereotypical here. I'm not. I've seen it. I grew up in Los Angeles. I've seen 6, 7, 8, 9 people in an apartment building, especially different cultures. What they'll do is they'll all come over and they will start all in one building, and then they save up enough money, they actually buy a house, they all move into that house, then they save up enough money, they buy another house, and then they split up, and so on and so forth, and it starts passing through there. So over time, they're going to have multiple apartments or condos or houses or different things like that, but they do start out living, and so they can afford a higher rent because they're all pooling their money. when you have other cultures that want to live by themselves or only with one other person. So they can't afford as much. So that's why you're getting those housing shortages, and that's why people are living at home or they're living in different areas. So those are things that you want to look at. The other thing with the port strike. So now the port strike has ended. However, what is the lasting effect in goods? We knew the port strike was going to happen. So a lot of companies did not want to be cut short, so they did a lot of early ordering, which means they spent a lot of money up front. They brought that in. Those goods are in there. They're now in the system, but now they're taking up space on their shelves. So now that they don't have the port strike until January, potentially, what are they going to do? Well, they can't just leave those goods sitting on their shelves until they want to sell it. They were doing that to be prepared. So now they're going to put it out there. Do they sell it early? Yeah. Are they going to sell it at more reduced prices? Probably, because now they got to get off their shelves because they have their other goods that are taking up space as well. So we may see a loss in pricing and a loss in inventory because we have this glut. So it could be actually a really good thing for the holiday season. We might have higher sales at a lower price, or we can see an actual increase in there because, hey, we have the goods, we're going to sell them at normal, and we're just going to start selling early. So there's a lot of different things that we can kind of take a look at here. So this will be something that we're going to want to keep watching. Here's what I want you to do. Like and subscribe. Talk to you later.